Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Hope everybody's doing fantastic today. This is the Hayden Coker Show presented to you by Senator Lance Bell. Hope you're doing well this afternoon. We've got a great show for you. Great teams to talk about. We've got great players to talk about. We've got some players that disappointed in week one. We've got some players that shined in week one. Garrett Nussmeier had a heck of a game against Clemson. They go into Death Valley, South Carolina, and they win the game. So LSU did a fantastic job there. Then you hop over in just a second. You take a look at Clemson. Clemson, on the other hand, didn't have a great game at all. Honestly, the score probably should have been worse than what it was. So LSU wins that game 17-10. LSU is just a few plays away from that being a 31-10, 31-7 ball game. And I understand ifs, buts, whatevers, maybes. It is what it is. That's all he said, she said, whatever. But at the end of the day, I really think that the LSU should have won that game by more. It is what it is. I however, am on the one hand, or of the observation that LSU is going to be one of the better teams in college football all year. I kind of thought that for a little bit early on, going into everything. Then you had things kind of switch around. Then toward the beginning of the season, I was like, how do I really feel about this team? Well, I look at it from a different point of view. I see, Nussmeier. How's this guy going to fare off defensively? Man, the defensive line is absolutely insane. Jack Pyburn coming over from Florida. That kid's improved. That kid's gotten bigger, faster, stronger too. So he's been a unit on the defensive line. He's going to come into this year. He's going to be fantastic. Who else do you have on that defense? You got Harold Perkins, phenomenal. Wes Weeks, brother of Whit Weeks out there. So it really just depends on how you look at it, what point of view you look at it from. Man, I just cannot get over how good I think this LSU team can be this year. This is a solid top 5 team right now. We've got the HCS Power 12 coming to you here live shortly. I'll bring that to you here in about 5 or so minutes, 10 minutes maybe. But first, I want to go ahead and I want to dive into some of these games that happened this weekend. First off, I want to go ahead and say, unfortunate for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Unfortunate turn of events for the Crimson Tide. They did not have a good weekend at all. Florida State, they showed up. They showed up business. They showed up and they acted like they wanted to play. And I can say that about Alabama. I don't know how far I can go about that with Alabama. I don't think they showed it to play. I don't think they were ready. I think that Kalen DeBoer has a sense of, I think this team is ready, but I'm not sure. And then they went out on the field, and things turned around drastically. That's when people really found out that, hey, maybe this team is not exactly what we thought it was. And that was kind of my point of view from the get-go. Alabama, I say from the get-go, after the first drive, Alabama looked really good on the first drive. They drive down the field. They score a touchdown. Then Tommy Castellanos, he talked his talk. He walked his walk. He said, you know what? Saban isn't here to save this Alabama team anymore. Said it to their face. To the media, had it blown over everything. So this is a guy who went out, talked his crap, and then proceeded to back everything that he said up. Thomas Castellanos has my respect, okay? Now, going into the game, I thought, oh, buddy, this is going to be where Thomas Castellanos gets his mouth shut. I figured he'd get hit in the mouth a few times and probably get his helmet rubbed in the dirt. So that ended up not happening. Thomas Castellanos went out there. He did his thing. He ran the ball effectively. He threw it effectively as well. Coming out in the second half, this is when I really thought that Alabama was going to have things figured out. You go out and you punt. So you punt first drive, 3 and out. And then you have Thomas Castellanos and company coming back up on the main stage. So those guys come back up on the main stage, and I thought that maybe Alabama's defense would stifle them. And it just be over from the get-go, from the start of that half for Florida State's offense. What really happened in the second half, and what led me to think that, man, this is it for Alabama, and this is what a lot of people thought in my humble opinion. This is what probably a lot of people thought. Thomas Castellanos comes out, wheel route, and you have that flashy Gus Malzahn offense that is so effective against an Alabama Crimson Tide football team. Runs that flashy, the formations, the movement before the snap. You have motion everywhere. Well, then you have the quarterback, or then you have the wide receiver lined up in the backfield, sneak out of the backfield, and he runs the wheel route up the seam. He catches it and nearly takes it to the house for a touchdown for Florida State. This is when Florida State, I want to say it was 17-7 at this point. Yeah, they go down the field. They extend their lead to 24-7, and then after that, it's basically history. Florida State didn't really look back. You had Alabama, who kind of stayed in the game for a little bit. Offensively, didn't get much done. Their defense started stepping up. Florida State really didn't do much in the third quarter other than that drive. So Alabama, they held them in the third quarter, aside from that one drive. But at the end of the day, if you're this Kalen DeBoer-led team, you have to understand when it's a little too late. and I think a lot of people understood that it was just a little too late in that third quarter. So they drove down the field. Just didn't go the way they wanted it to go. It is what it is. They'll live with it. Alabama takes an L on the opening weekend, 31-17. And they're just going to have to learn from here. They've got several games now that have opened up as toss-ups now that after seeing them play in this first week, I just don't know, man. They could very well look so in a few weeks against Wisconsin. I understand who Wisconsin is, but still against Wisconsin, they could look like an 11-win team. Then a few weeks later, you have LSU. You can very much so look like a 4-loss team. So I'm not necessarily sure how to feel about this Alabama Crimson Tide team right now. I know that Daniel Welch of Steel 174, he thinks very strongly of this Alabama Crimson Tide football team right now. So comments from Daniel Welch only. Of course, not me, because of course, why would we have any sort of Alabama Crimson Tide slander on this program? But Steel 174, construction company based out of Steel, Alabama, fantastic company. They get the job done. And in Daniel Welch's words, unlike Alabama. So Steel 174 can get the job done. Those are guys that are really, really, really competent, and they understand what they're doing. They understand how to get the job done. They understand their customers. They understand their employees. They have a great understanding of what's going on in the business. So Steel 174, Daniel Welch, Dawson Welch, Bobby Welch, those guys are phenomenal. We highly appreciate those guys for supporting the show, supporting everybody here, supporting this town Steel as well. So that is Bama. So Bama, obviously a tough loss. Not what I expected at all, but it is what it is. Clemson and LSU. All right. Garrett Nussmeier went out there. He didn't necessarily have to have the game of his life. I didn't think he was going to go out there and throw for 350 yards against Clemson's defense. We know who they are. They're really good. They've been stout. And Sammy Brown, who, in my opinion, is one of the best linebackers in America right now, and I think he will be. I think he was on his way last year. Now I think it's this year to really show them how it's done, to show the ACC, show the SEC too. He had a really good game on Saturday night. But the main part about it was that Clemson couldn't run the ball. Clemson, they couldn't run the ball at all. They had like 31 yards of total rushing yards. So when it comes to Clemson, they've got to learn how to run the ball. They've got to establish that. They have a converted wide receiver at running back right now, and that just it didn't help them out at all. Cade Klubnik looks sporadic. It did not look comfortable. So, guys, I'm saying that Cade Klubnik has got to find his wheels because, and I understand that's an LSU defense that's super good. We knew they were going to be good coming into the year. Blake Baker has done phenomenal things with that defense over the past 2 years. If you look at what they looked like last year, they were good. Obviously, they were taking strides. They looked rough at times. Now I think it's the year for LSU personally to take that leap of faith. Now is the year for LSU. If LSU is going to win the national championship, I'm not going to say it's this year only, but they have a dang good team to do it. So if LSU is going to win the national championship in a year where they have the pieces to do it, well, guess what? It's this year. You know, we thought a few years ago maybe that this LSU team, they were that. Well, guess what? A few years ago, they had the offense to do it. They had Jaden Daniels and company. They had the offense to do it, man, but they just could not get the job done because their defense was just terrible, man. It was just terrible. And so I'm really curious to see how they pair off this year. I think that LSU is going to eventually end up being the best team in the country. At some point this year, they will be the number one team in the country. And we'll get into rankings and stuff and the HCS Power 12 here in a little bit. But just my humble opinion, I think that LSU is well on its way to being the number one team in the country at some point this year. Ohio State knocked off Texas. Ohio State, neither team looked good in this game. So coming into the game, you had not the HCS Power rankings, but the AP Top 25. You had LSU, or excuse me, you had Texas at 1. You had Ohio State at 2, or I believe there were 3. Yeah, Ohio State was 3. I had them at 2, so I had it as a 1 and 2 matchup. The AP had it a little bit differently. That's fine. I understand it, but as we all know, the HCS Power 12 miles better than the AP Top 25. It always will be, always has been. Even from the morning it started, because I remember a few years ago, I ended up starting my rankings at, everybody, they're just better than the AP Top 25 all the time. Any place, anywhere. You show up for a boxing match, the HCS Power 12, boom, knockout blow. But no, Texas really looked rough, man. So Texas looked rough. Ohio State looked rough, but those are 2 really good teams defensively. Ohio State has one of the best linebackers in America in Sonny Styles. He's the green dot. He's the leader of that defense, the middle linebacker, and he's just done he had a fantastic game on Saturday. So I think that he's going to be one of those guys that steps up, not just for that team, but for the team as well. But he's going to be one of those guys that people are talking about in the end, at the end of the season for an end of the season award. Like he's legit. And if you don't know who Sonny Styles is, I'm telling you who he is right now. Middle linebacker, the green dot for Ohio State's defense. Learn who he is because he's freaking good. So I'm really excited to see how he fares off this year because I think he fits into that defense perfectly. This is his first year as him being the notable guy. Obviously, last year you had Caleb Downs, Jack Sawyer. And now this year you still have Caleb Downs on that defense, but Sonny Styles being the heart of that defense, being in the center of it as well, and him being the true headhunter that he is, man, I just cannot see that Ohio State defense falling off. They played a phenomenal game. They had Arch Manning in check. Also, Arch Manning had himself in check. Arch Manning did not play a good game at all. And I understand, first game jitters and stuff. He was in a rough situation. Not the first game he did start, but one of the first games on the road that he has started. First season as the season starter, and he just didn't fare off well, man. Ohio Stadium was not the place to start for him. And he looked sporadic. He looked like uncomfortable, and even when he wasn't being pressured, he looked uncomfortable. Indecisive at times as well. You looked at the first pass of the game, and this is when I kind of knew it was downhill from there. Arch Manning's first pass of the game on the first play of the game, play action. He rolls out to the right. I don't even think he set his feet, but nobody's near him. He has a chance to set his feet. It's an out route going to the sideline, and he just whiffs on it. And he skips the ball maybe 5-10 yards in front of his receiver, and it just ended up not being a good night for Arch Manning in general. Now, you can blame it a little bit on the routes, the coverages, and everything. Ohio State's defense blanketed Texas wide receivers. They did. Absolutely blanketed. So I'm not putting it all on Arch Manning, but at some point you've got to sit back and really own it that this is not the Arch Manning that everybody thought. Now, I don't think anybody thought that he was going to go out there and throw for 300 yards. I think everybody kind of knew where he was not necessarily mediocre, but one of those guys who just wasn't going to give you that 300-yard game, okay? Everybody, I don't think anybody out there, well, I say anybody, Vegas did. Vegas had him as a Heisman frontrunner. I don't think anybody with a sane mind thought that Arch Manning was going to go out there and win the Heisman Trophy. Now, I hope he goes out there and wins the Heisman Trophy because I love the kid. I love his attitude. I love his demeanor toward the media, his teammates, how he perceives himself. I love the kid. Like, I love Arch Manning. I just personally don't think that this season is probably going to be his season. So, like I said, it is what it is for Arch Manning. He will figure it out. I just don't necessarily think he gets it. Maybe he gets that Heisman-type season this year. I just don't think that's going to happen. Moving on, we have Miami and Notre Dame. So Miami and Notre Dame, and Jared Smith says Ty Simpson is better. And Jared, I'm going to go ahead and comment on that because I don't necessarily disagree. I think that Ty Simpson, I don't disagree, or I don't agree. I don't think that Ty Simpson is better. I think that Ty Simpson had a good game. I say a good game. He had a decent game against Florida State. And the reason I say that, because I know a lot of the outcome of the game did look pitiful when it came to the quarterback play. The problem was he didn't have time, man. He did not have time to throw the ball. You look at Parker's Brelford, he was probably the only good offensive lineman on the field. You had Caden Proctor getting blown off the ball. He's getting beat by defensive ends. Caden Proctor didn't have a good game at all. I think that Arch Manning is better than Ty Simpson, but I think that and I understand where you're coming from when you say this, Jared. Now he's got to prove it. Okay, his effort was better. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, Jared. No doubt, his effort was better. One of the main things that I saw that everybody saw from Ty Simpson was the kid's heart and the kid's grit and his attitude. I mean, it looked like he wanted to cry at one point during the game, and I felt bad for him. But the kid really went out there and he showed grit, and he showed strength. So I have nothing bad to say about Ty Simpson. I think he'll be a good quarterback in the future. I just think he has to take those learning steps, and I think he'll get better as time goes on. Miami beat Notre Dame 27-24, and this was one of those games that was really, really questionable when it comes to play calling for Notre Dame. Props to Miami's defense. Props to Carson Beck, and he played a really good game as well. But God, man, when it comes to the play calling for Notre Dame, there was a time in the first half when Notre Dame ran 3 straight screen passes, and that's just not something that you need from a top 10 team, especially when it comes to the caliber of coordinators that Notre Dame has. We know who Marcus Freeman is. We know who he is. We know he's one of the best coaches in the country, and he will stay like that for years. I think that Marcus Freeman will be here for the next 15, 20 years. He'll be coaching. He'll go down as probably one of the best to ever do it, especially at Notre Dame anyways. But I don't know what was going on, man. Like, the play calling was not very great. I will say that C.J. Carr looks pretty good. He looked poised at times. He looked kind of offbeat at times. That's going to happen. First career start for a quarterback like him. And so he backed up Riley Leonard and company last year. So he wasn't even number 2 on the depth chart, I don't believe. So I just don't necessarily think that he was set up to succeed in that moment, but that's okay. It's week 1. This team will improve. I think that Notre Dame is still a top 10 team. Miami, on the other hand, Miami looks good, man. The Miami offensive line, they dominated all night. They looked phenomenal, and I think that this Miami team is, and I'll show you here in a little bit in the HCS Power 12. I think that they will be phenomenal. But when it comes to Notre Dame, for one, hand the ball off to Jeremiah Lovemore, dude. He's the best athlete on the field almost every freaking game. And you talk about out of place. It looked like Jeremiah, and this is things you don't see often. Jeremiah Love not getting the ball. It's like a Blue Chew. It's like a Blue Chew commercial on my Facebook, and which I've been getting. And I don't know why. That's not necessarily something that I'm interested in right now. But that's something that's out of sorts. And something else that's out of sorts is Jeremiah Love not getting the ball. If Jeremiah Love is on the football field, he needs to have the ball in his hands 8 times out of 10. Now, obviously, I know you got to pass the ball. You got to throw the ball at some point. This is the guy that ran the ball 10 times. He ran the ball 10 times. He caught it 4 times, so 4 receptions for a few yards. And it just was not pretty when it comes to play calling. Obviously, I think they'll improve. It's week 1. I'm not going to overreact entirely to any week 1 nonsense. I am going to overreact. Don't get me wrong. Say that. I'm not going to go ahead and say that Alabama's not going to win another game this year. I'm not going to go out there and say that Alabama's only going to win 2 games this year like Florida State did last year. I'm not going to say that. So let's compare Florida State last year and Alabama this year. No, that's just not going to happen. That's just not how this works. This is the Hayden Coker Show presented to you by Senator Lance Bell here in Pell City. Senator Lance Bell is one of the best men that I know, and he helps out the program a lot. So we highly appreciate Lance Bell. So Senator Lance Bell, we thank you. I love you. If you're watching this, I'm gonna wink off camera at you, but no, Lance, I love you. I appreciate you, and thank you for bringing this show to life and giving us some energy in it. So we really appreciate it. And so now I'm about to jump into the HCS Power 12, but I want to talk about first building your dream home. If you're building your dream home, you need a little wood, 47 trips to the convenience store, the hardware store. You got to get gas on the way back. You need a miracle, because guess what? You're not going to make it on your own. You could do all that. So you could do all that, or you could call Steel 174. Steel 174 makes the process easy and enjoyable. They build custom homes and buildings. They don't build custom homes, buildings, and all that jazz with duct tape or anything like that. No, this is the company that's a real deal. Steel 174, still strong, still reliable, Steel 174. And unlike Alabama, still 174 gets the job done. A bunch of great guys, Daniel Welch, Bobby Welch, Dawson Welch, phenomenal people. If you want somebody to build your home, if you're building a home, guess what? Contact Daniel Welch, Bobby Welch, and Dawson Welch at Steel 174. You can find those guys on Facebook at Steel 174. The Hayden Coker Show is live tonight here from Buffalo Wild Wings in Pell City. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Everybody that's in the live chat, we've got Jared Smith joining in, Jamarius Borden tuning in. We've got Joseph Brewer tuning in. So I appreciate everybody for joining in tonight. We've got a lot going on, a lot to talk about. And here in a minute, we're going to talk about the HCS Power 12. But right now, I want to talk about how wonderful Buffalo Wild Wings in Pell City is. So Buffalo Wild Wings in Pell City, some phenomenal sweet tea. Had some wings earlier on the house. Some phenomenal stuff, man. And I can tell you all you want to. But I need you to come down to Buffalo Wild Wings in Pell City and try what they've got, because they've got some phenomenal food. They've got some great people working here, and I think you'd like it as well. Now we're going to jump into the HCS Power 12, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you enjoyed this segment, the HCS Power 12. So this is a segment that we're going to have every single week. We started it last year. This year it's a little bit different. So we're going to be debuting the HCS Power 12 every single Tuesday. This week it was Wednesday. We had some stuff going on Tuesday. They ended up pushing it back a little bit. But now, this is the HCS Power 12, and I understand, what is that 12th spot exactly? Why are the South Florida Bulls in this Power 12? Why are they the 12th ranked team in the country? Well, let me just tell you right now, okay? This is the HCS Power 12, where the 12th ranked team is reserved for that best group of 6 opponent, okay? Or best group of 6 team. So, and obviously, you know them as group of 5, group of 6, with the elimination of the Pac-12, or near elimination anyways. But anyways, so we have USF coming in at 12. So if you did not watch USF in week 1, they played Boise State. Everybody thought that, Boise State, man, was going to blow the doors off of them. I told you that thought that it might be a little closer than advertised. I took Boise State. Well, guess what? USF went out there and they blew the doors off the Broncos. So South Florida, they went in there, they got the win on their home field. They get the win, and now this week they play Florida. So this is going to be a massive test for this Alex Golesh-led team. So Golesh, obviously, we all know about Golesh. A few years ago, offensive coordinator at Tennessee. Now he's the head coach at USF. So I'm extremely excited about this USF team. I think they'll be a pretty good team this year. That right now is the 12th ranked team in the HCS Power 12. Byron Brown, quarterback for USF, has been playing fantastic ball. I say all year. He played some fantastic ball in week 1. He was able to utilize his legs. He threw Boise State off a lot. He got trucked some defenders. He scored some rushing touchdowns. He threw for some touchdowns. Or he scored a rushing touchdown anyways. But no, Byron Brown and this USF team are legit. And I think you need to pay attention to them. I think you find out just how legit they are this week when they play Florida. Florida, a really good team. I'm not saying USF bounces Florida out of the top 25 and beats them. It's not what I'm saying. I'm saying USF keeps it close, but I do think that Florida wins that game. South Carolina, our next team, coming off a win against Virginia Tech. So South Carolina, our number 11th ranked team in the HCS Power 12. Week 1, not overreacting too much. Now, I do understand that this is a South Carolina team that it took a special teams touchdown to pull away from this Virginia Tech team, and that's just not going to cut it like in the end. It's just not. So I guess week 1, I understand where everybody's coming from, and I understand the overreaction, some of the underreactions that we're having as well. But right now, I think the South Carolina team has a lot to prove, and I think they're going to prove that week in and week out. That game against Alabama, middle of the season, that's a game that's looking a lot more winnable now. And I had them winning that game prior. And I had that game as Alabama's only loss of the season. So I'm already wrong there, and I could be wrong here again. But that's not entirely what I'm focused on. South Carolina, they'll be a good team. They're my number 11 team right now in the HCS Power 12. Rolling in at number 10, we have the Illinois Fighting Illini. So the Fighting Brett Bielema are coming in at number 10. I think Luke Altmaier is fantastic, man. And they got a really nice win last week. I really think that Illinois is going to be one of those teams that is going to be strong this year. I think they come back stronger than this year, despite losing McCray, a running back. Despite that, I don't care. I think they come back stronger. I think they come back good. They have a lot of returning production as well. So I've got this Illinois team, and especially after their big win last week, I understand a lesser opponent, but Illinois is going to be good, man. And I think everybody needs to wake up, and I think they need to realize that as well. Now I have Clemson coming in at number 9. Now Clemson, a tough loss to this LSU team that we saw this past weekend. Clemson hosted LSU too. That's what kind of scares me. I really thought that LSU would go in. I didn't think they'd win this game, but a lot of what I saw in week 1 from Clemson was they can't run the ball. They can't run the ball at all. They didn't look great passing the ball either. LSU outgained them by a lot, and I just don't necessarily see this Clemson team. I'm not going to say I don't see them improving. I do see them improving and being pretty good this year. I think that Clemson will probably win the ACC, but with how Miami played, they've got to step up and show me. So look at what Miami did. Okay, Miami played a heck of a ball game, dude. They played a heck of a ball game. I'll give it to them. They went out there and they stifled that Notre Dame offense. Now late, a little bit different story. Notre Dame got going, but Miami went out there. They did what they needed to do to win that game. But Clemson, they've got to step it up, man. They've got to step it up. You lose to LSU in week 1. You look pitiful while doing it. But, I mean, LSU looked great. Defensively, they were solid. Offensively, they looked good. So I'm not going to fault LSU at all. They played a hell of a ball game on offense, and I'm not gonna slide them at all for that. That's why I have LSU so far up. Coming in at number 8, we have Notre Dame. Now, I just talked about Notre Dame and their struggles a little bit. Hand the ball to freaking Jeremiah Love, man. Hand the ball to Jeremiah Love. That's the only thing I'm going to say about that right now. CJ Carr, he's going to be good. He just got to have a little time to settle in. He played a good ball game. Sometimes he looked a little off. Obviously, it's his first start in his first away game, so his first career game starting at Notre Dame too. So I don't know. I'm not gonna sit there and slide them too much for it. But either way, I got them sitting at 8, and that is the Fighting Irish. Coming in at number 7, we have the Miami Hurricanes. So the Miami Hurricanes, I just talked about them a little. I just talked about them a lot. So Carson Beck, one of the main stories of this game. Now I get it. Everybody's talking about how maybe this Carson Beck guy just isn't necessarily the guy to do it. Well, Carson Beck went out there and he proved some people wrong. He went out there and he kind of got his revenge on everybody that was saying, hey, you know what, this guy can't ball out. He had 2 really solid touchdown passes. One that was a little overthrown, but his wide receiver made a heck of a play. Miami's offense looked good. Defensively, they look stout. The offensive line looks dominant. That's why I have Miami at number 7 right now. I think they're going to be really good going into over the next few weeks. Texas coming in at number 6. So Texas, one of those teams, as I sip from the Buffalo Wild Wings sweet tea. Texas, one of those teams that's got to get it figured out, man. I'm not overreacting to this team just yet because defensively they're phenomenal. I think their wide receivers are going to be good in the future. They've got to get it figured out, though. You got the freshman coming in, and Jamie French didn't record a catch in week 1. I don't necessarily think he will be too much of a factor this year. I just don't. That's where I'm coming from there. I just cannot see a world where French contributes as much right now anyways. But when it comes down to it, I think that Texas will be okay. Quintravion Wisner, he's really, really good. And what I want to say about Wisner, that joker bounces off of defenders like he's a freaking pinball, dude. Like, you would see at times where he would run, he would go to a gap, nothing's there, he bounces it out, hits another gap, and guess what? He gains a few yards. If you bet the over on his rushing total, you did pretty good because I did it too. But so you succeeded there. The problem with the overall offense was they had 0 passing attack. Ohio State didn't necessarily have to second guess themselves because Arch Manning was not accurate at all. It wasn't precise. He didn't look comfortable at all. And they shut down the passing attack from Texas. So Ohio State didn't necessarily have to have that. Like, for instance, Texas running play action. They went with the run. Fine, cool. You know, I think that the mindset from Ohio State last week was, if you're going to beat us through the air. Because let's just be honest with ourselves, Texas didn't do crap through the air. And I hate it, man, because I really want Arch Manning to do good. He will do good, but right now, it's not his time. He'll move on. He'll get better, and he will impress at some point. Now, Oregon coming in at number 5, Dante Moore, man. I'm really excited about Dante Moore. Transferred over from UCLA a few years ago, last year. and then sat behind Dylan Gabriel last year as well, learned a little bit. Now the guy's a starting quarterback. Well, Dante Moore is one of those guys that he has that experience. He started a year at UCLA and obviously didn't look great at UCLA. He had his flashes, though. And a lot of what happened at UCLA was who he was around, the guys around him, the competition around him as well, and the players they had. Now it's a little bit different, man. Now at Oregon, DeCorian Moore, DeCorian Moore is a guy that I think is going to be really good this year. Evan Stewart as well. DeCorian Moore, he's the freshman coming in, and he absolutely pancaked the guy. He pancaked the wide receiver. They threw it up the outside like a screen pass type deal. And DeCorian Moore, I mean, he let the defender have it, man. He blocked him into the end zone. And Dan Lanning was actually asked about this same play at the end of the game or in the post-game press conference or whatever. And he was like, man, he was blocking his tail off, but he was blocking the wrong guy. So there's no problem there. Obviously, that thing's going to happen. But DeCorian Moore's special, man. He's going to be good. And I can't wait to see what that kid does. But you got a bunch of key pieces of this Oregon offense that make them who they are. And over the next few weeks, I think they're going to be better. They're going to show a lot of people why they are ranked number 5 in the HCS Power 12 right now. Number 4, I have the Georgia Bulldogs. So Georgia obviously didn't see too much. They played a Marshall team. And honestly, we didn't see too much either from Oregon. They didn't play anybody as well. I mean, they played Montana State, a pretty good FCS team. But overall, if you want to look at it that way, just not the best team in general. But anyways, Georgia didn't play the best competition. They played Marshall. Shout out to Landon Cornut. Went to high school with Landon. He's now coaching at Marshall. He's an analyst, so fantastic guy. And I'm really rooting for Marshall this year. But when it comes to Georgia's level, Marshall's just not there right now. And Georgia kind of showed that. They went out there, they did their thing, and they played a really good game. They played a sound game. Gunnar Stockton was pretty good. He threw the ball. He ran the ball pretty well as well. So, and he led the team in rushing. So Gunnar Stockton is going to be one of those guys that's going to be pretty good this year. But he's going to have to step up and take this Georgia offense to another level. You've talked about receivers. Last year, the receivers were one of the best in the country when it came to dropping the ball because they dropped the ball a lot. So this year, that has to change. The rushing attack, it's got to change. So it's got to be better. Every facet of Georgia's games has got to be better. At the top. Coming in at number 3, we have Penn State. Penn State's going to be a good team this year. Drew Aller, he's back. They have a lot of returning production. Possibly, I'll go ahead and say there's no possibly to it. They have the best running back room in America right now. So, you cannot. So Nick Singleton is going to be one of the best backs in the country by the time it's all said and done. Katrin Allen, he's one of the best backs in the country too already. Both of those guys in the top 5 or top 10 at least right now. So, Penn State has the pieces, man. They've got the pieces, and they finally get some wide receiver play too, and they've got a defense. They're going to be strong. I'm really excited to see what this Penn State team does. Is James Franklin going to be able to get them over the hook, over the hump? So Penn State at number 3, LSU at number 2. For reasons I've stated a little bit earlier on in the show, LSU they look really good. They were solid defensively against that Clemson team in South Carolina. So I'm really excited about how LSU played as well. Garrett Nussmeier had himself a game. He looked poised. He looked comfortable, and he's number 18 because that's an LSU tradition. So LSU's going to be good. Ohio State is the number 1 team, the Omega of college football right now. They took down the number 1 team in Texas in week 1. The defense looked phenomenal while doing it. Offensively, Julian Sayin, he's got to figure things out. I think he will figure things out. These were 2 freshman quarterback coming into this game. Or I say freshman quarterback. And Art's not a freshman, but you understand what I'm saying. One of his first games starting. Then you have Julian Sayin coming in. This is his first game starting, okay? And he was at home. Arch Manning, not his first game starting, probably his 3rd or 4th game starting. Problem was it was on the road, and it was week 1 where this is his team, and the media is all about it. You look in the offseason, Arch even said himself, there's a lot of talk about how I'm so good right now. Not his words, obviously. He was like, a lot of talk about how I'm so good right now. I don't understand why I haven't proved it. So I've got to go out there and I've got to prove why I'm one of those guys. And that's what he will learn and he will have to do. So the media really, really, really threw this kid into the spotlight and kind of messed him up a little bit. But when it comes to Ohio State, They will get it figured out. Julian's saying he's going to be a dog at some point. I firmly believe that. And also just the Texas defense that is stifling. That front seven. And I want to say that, and this is what I've kind of said, kind of told myself going into the offseason, and well, I say into the offseason, coming into the season and everything as well, is that, C.J. Donaldson transferred from West Virginia. He didn't have much success. And what I've been trying to kind of thinking myself is that, I'm getting a baby carrot waved in my face over here by a fan who's my dad. I don't want a baby carrot, Dad. I appreciate it. But, no, so C.J. Donaldson transfers over from West Virginia, doesn't have that great of a game, but it's understandable. Like, you can understand why, because this Texas front seven is extremely difficult to face off against. So I understand why. C.J. Donaldson's a guy who will take that running back room to another level, I do think. Obviously, you lose Quinshon Judkins and Travion Henderson, but now I think it's time for them to bounce back. I think they will, so I'm not entirely worried about that running back room right now at all, for that matter. Jeremiah Smith dropped 2 passes to open up the game. Had 6 total catches the entire game. Carnell Tate played a pretty good game as well. But offensively, not an offensive slugfest. I don't know. There were a lot of people who thought that maybe this game might have been higher scoring. I was of the group that thought that, this is going to be a little bit of a lower scoring game, defensive battle, 2 really solid defenses, possibly one of the best, possibly the top 2 defenses in the country. So possibly 2 of the top defenses in the country. And so I don't necessarily think that this game puts any type of worry into my mind, other than, I hope that Arch Manning gets it under control, which I think he will. But that's aside from the point there. The Hayden Coker Show presented to you by Senator Lance Bell. Senator Lance Bell, one of the best people I know. We appreciate all he does for the show, and he's a fantastic dude. We highly appreciate him and all he does. So we have some games coming up this week, and I kind of want to talk to you about them because we got some good games, we've got some bad games, and this isn't necessarily a week that I think everybody's going to enjoy. We're in the South. I know it's dove season. A lot of people are going to be dove hunting. I get it. Trust me, I'll be doing the same thing too at some point. But I'm going to be watching ball, baby. I'm going to be watching ball. I'm going to digest it. I'm going to consume it. And Ole Miss and Kentucky are playing this weekend. That's going to be a fun one. I think that Ole Miss is going to win that game. Austin Simmons and Ole Miss, they have a lot to prove, okay? So Austin Simmons coming in. By the way, this guy's 19 years old and getting his master's degree at the moment. He received his bachelor's degree at 17 years old, or somewhere along the lines of that, or associates. The dude's incredible. Like, the dude's smart. But so Austin Simmons, he's going to be good this year. I think that he's going to be very poised. He's one of those guys that has a type of athleticism that you just don't teach. You can't teach athleticism, and that guy has it. So I think that Austin Simmons, he will be a difference maker for that Ole Miss team this year. Really excited for it. I'll take Ole Miss in that one. Number 11, Illinois, traveling to Duke. So traveling to Duke, I think that Illinois gets it done. Darian Mensah, phenomenal quarterback. He came over from Tulane. Duke paid this guy millions of dollars to come over from Tulane. So I'll take Illinois, but I think that Duke probably has this game a little closer than people expect. Now, I get it's a very short spread. It's a 3.5-point spread. It's a 2.5-point spread, I think, to Illinois, if I'm correct on that. I could be wrong, though. But Illinois is going to win this game. Darian Mitchell will keep it close to the Blue Devils. That Joker's good. He's a really good ball player. But I'm going with Illinois, and I'm taking the fighting the line on. Baylor is going on the road to play SMU. So Baylor is going to look to bounce back after a 38-24 loss to the Auburn Tigers. And Auburn played a phenomenal game. But Baylor trying to bounce back defensively. Not the best team in the world. If you look at Baylor offensively, man, they're going to cause some problems this year. A lot of people saying, Auburn allowed 400 passing yards to Sawyer Robertson. Who's this kid? Let me just tell you about Sawyer Robertson. If you watched him last year, you knew exactly the type of kid he was and exactly the type of playmaker he was. The kid can run the ball. It's not necessarily the one thing he likes to do. The kid can sling it, man. And Sawyer Robertson is one of those guys that I think is going to be the best quarterback in the Big 12. And there's a few up there. Josh Hoover from TCU as well. They just blew out UNC over the weekend. So they're over Labor Day, actually. So, but no, man. Baylor's going to be a good team. but I think they dropped 2 in a row to this. I think they dropped 2 in a row to this SMU team. SMU is going to be really good. I think that Lashley has them on the right direction. Kevin Jennings, he's a dog, man. I think that they will be fine. I'm not entirely worried about SMU. Baylor will be fine as well. I think they dropped to 0-2, and there's a chance they win out. I'm just going to go ahead and say that. I think they will lose a Big 12 game or two. There's a possibility that this team wins out. Coming up next, we went over Ole Miss and Kentucky. Kansas at Missouri, one of those sneaky good games is coming on this weekend. I don't think too many people are talking about it. And I think that this is one of those games that people are going to look back on over the next few weeks and say, hey, you know what? This is a battle of two extremely good teams. And something. So let me just tell you a little bit about these two teams. So Kansas and Missouri, this is a rivalry, by the way. For those who don't know, the border war, it's going to be a fantastic game, fantastic matchup. If you look at this rivalry over the years, you understand the hate there. Now, I get that not a lot of eyes are on it. It's not the Alabama and Auburn. It's not the Ohio State, Michigan. It's not Alabama, LSU, man. It's not Utah, UCLA. It's not. It's just not. But you know what? It's going to draw attention this weekend from Kansas fans, from Missouri fans, and people who love college football. It's going to draw attention from them too, not just your average fan. And I'm here to tell y'all this here because I can speak from experience. If you watch one of the, just give it a chance. It's a rivalry. You don't necessarily know about it too much. Give this game a chance because Kansas and Missouri is going to be one of the better games of the weekend, possibly the best game of the weekend. I got Bo Prabula and the Missouri Tigers taking this game. But Jalen Daniels and Highshaw, they're running back. Those guys are going to be good, man. And so look out for Kansas. They're going to be a good team, and this is going to be a really good game, a close game, a good matchup. But I think that Missouri is going to end up taking this game in the end. USF at Florida, another good game that I've been talking about here recently. And you can hear some of the cheers in here in Buffalo Wild Wings. Jalen Hurts has just scored the first touchdown of the season for the NFL or in the NFL this year, or for the Eagles anyways. The Dallas Cowboys are up 7-6 right now, probably about to be tied 7-7. So the Cowboys scored first. They scored the first one of the season. Then the Eagles strike back. Now it's 7-7. So, but moving on, you have UCLA and UNLV up next. Now I got Missouri winning the Missouri-Kansas game. This is another one that really intrigues me. UCLA versus UNLV, the battle of the letters. And I want to say that UCLA wins this game, but I'm not entirely sure, man. Because look at UNLV and look who they have. Obviously, it's a bunch of transfers. It's a bunch of guys who get second chances. And I saw a post on Instagram that said, UNLV is last chance to you in real life. Well, they got a point, or the college version of last chance to you. And you got a point. You look at some of the guys there like Alex Orji. You got one of the wide receivers from a few years ago at Alabama. You got Anthony Colondrea. He's going to be a really good quarterback for UNLV this year. He's kind of showed it over the last few weeks just how good he can be. And I get this Dan Mullen-led team hasn't shown anything to anybody yet, but I think they do it this weekend, and I think they beat UCLA. So watch out for UNLV in that best group of 16, that best G6 team category over the next few weeks. So USF and Florida, one of the better games of the weekend, in my opinion. Florida favored by 17. I think that's too much. I think this is going to be around a 10 to 14 point game. I would put the spread around 10.5, 11, somewhere around there. I think that USF keeps this game close. They're a little better than advertised. Byron Brown, one of the key stories of college football that not too many people are talking about that should. And let me tell you why. So last week when they played Boise State, it was a Thursday night. The game was on. They were live while we were here at Buffalo Wild Wings. So that game was being played live, and I had to take a sip of the Buffalo Wild Wings sweet tea. Throat getting a little dry. Thank you for noticing. But I understand that this USF team, they're getting better defensively, man. Offensively, I think they're going to be good. They forced a few turnovers for Boise State, made the score look a little worse than it actually was. That's fine. Because turnover is going to happen. All of that stuff is going to happen. What I am concerned about is defensively against this Florida team. So Florida's really, really good. Florida's going to be good offensively. Eugene Wilson, he's going to be a dog. Obviously, you've got guys like Jaden Ball in the backfield. You've got DJ Lagway. And you got a really good defensive front too. So, but offensively, Florida, I think they're a little bit too much this weekend. I'll take Florida 2 touchdowns. I'll take them by 14 or so. But don't expect for this to be a game where Florida comes out the gates and just blows USF out, because it's not going to happen. Here we go, guys. It is currently 7:45 p.m., and I'm currently being offered a baby carrot with ranch on it from a fan over here in the corner with the cowboy hat on it. I'm good. Thank you. I'm good. But as we wind down the show, and we're going to be out of your hair here in just a few minutes. But first off, I just want to say thank you to everybody who's out there supporting it. If you're watching live, if you're watching this, if you're rewatching it, you're going back and watching it. Maybe it's Friday morning, right? Maybe Saturday. Maybe you're on your way to work or on your way home or wherever you are. If you're on your couch or whatever, I appreciate you, like genuinely. Like I appreciate you, and I hope I genuinely wish the best for you, because, in my opinion, I think that we're trying to make the world a better place. That's our goal here. Make the world a better place, because who doesn't want to hear the HCS Power 12 every week? Who doesn't want to hear my wonderful voice every single week? Who wants to hear me talk into this microphone that's not being in use right now every single week? So I appreciate you, really. And the more and more that we do this, the more and more that I enjoy it. And I want to take a moment to say massive thank yous to Steel 174 out of Steel, Alabama. We've got Daniel Welch, Bobby Welch, Dawson Welch, all those guys, some guys behind the scenes as well. Fantastic construction company. They get it done, unlike Bama, in Daniel Welch's words. Now, Daniel, don't let your family hear you say that. I understand they're big Bama fans. They might hurt you. So, but still is strong, man. Steel 174, they're legit, still strong, still reliable. Steel 174. If you need any construction needs, go there on Facebook, Steel 174. Senator Lance Bell, thank you. Massive thank you for sponsoring the show. So this has been the Hayden Coker Show, brought to you by Senator Lance Bell since the beginning of this season of live shows. So we appreciate him, all that he does for us. Fantastic guy. If you don't know Lance Bell, guess what? You need to. But yeah, Catherine Colley chiming in on the comments, says she believed the hype about Arch deep shots. And he definitely could have absolutely be tested. Well, and Catherine, you're not wrong. There was a lot wrong with what happened in that game, and how Arch went about himself. Not necessarily went about himself, but how he played in that game. There were a lot of things wrong with it. And obviously, I think he'll get it fixed. I'm not too worried about it. But also, I want to thank Buffalo Wild Wings here in Pell City. We got some fantastic workers. We have the GM out here, who we appreciate so much. So, I just appreciate everybody for joining, man. I appreciate you for joining, for tuning in, and supporting the show. Like, I cannot thank you enough. And we're going to be back. We're going to be back and better than ever. Next week, we're going to be back. Same studio, same place. And I'm glad I can call my studio right now, Buffalo Wild Wings in Pell City. Some fantastic food. The fries are good, man. The ranch is good. Oh, my gosh. The burgers are good, man. So they've got a variety of different things that you can try, and it's good. So come down to Buffalo Wild Wings, get whatever you want, sit back, relax, and watch the game, whether that's the Cowboys and Eagles, whether that's you're watching a live stream of the Pell City football team, or you're listening to the team on the radio, or whatever you're listening to. Come down and enjoy it, man. Enjoy your family time and everything. This is the Hayden Coker Show, brought to you by Senator Lance Bell. We're going to be signing off for now, but we're going to be back next week. We're going to be back and better than ever. Got some more. We got another version of the HCS Power 12. That's going to be coming Tuesday, okay? So don't go anywhere. You got to stay tuned for that. And hope you guys are ready for it, because this weekend things are going to shake up just a little bit. And I appreciate everybody for watching. Jared Smith, thank you so much. Jared Jamarius Borden as well. So we'll be back better than ever next week. Don't go anywhere. And I hope you like the sweatshirt. We'll be back, and I hope to see you guys. And I'm being harassed right now by a fan in the corner over here, so I'm going to have to go. But until next time, y'all be good. God bless you. This has been the Hayden Coker Show, presented to you by Lance Bell, Senator Lance Bell. Y'all have a good one. Take care, and peace.